So, sorry, I said so.
It's okay.
So
Hello.
Sorry about that. You know what the problem is? It's just the two of us doing this.
Yeah, we need a third.
We need. Yeah. So we're not professional with this. That's the problem. We need professional stuff. We need like a third person here telling us A, B, C, D. So our topic today will be is serial killers.
Yeah.
I know there's a huge geekum for this or whatever word.
I love watching true crime. I watch it. I listen to it on podcasts. I watch them. Sam, actually from upstairs, she came down and watched them with me today.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the boss just said shared everything. Thanks, boss.
Thank you.
She's our second and a half because she's not here, but she's sharing all the things that need to be shared to different groups and stuff. But our topic today is going to be serial killers. So do you listen to a lot of that stuff? There's a lot. Everyone does this. I feel like everyone in the world listens to some type of podcast of people doing makeup, talking about crimes. We have what other crazy things is there? I don't know. I was a big Criminal Minds fan for a while.
Well, that's fake.
I like to listen. Fake. Well, I like. I like Law and Order, the original.
Yeah. And
that's not fake. That's well, it is fake, but it's not. It's so real because it's based on real stories. I don't know if anybody else watch any murder things or well, Netflix. I always feels like some.
Oh yeah, somebody Ted Bundy, like
somebody's murder story that you don't know about, and then you watch. Like, if my question is that after you watch that, are you more disturbed? Yeah, no. Are you more disturbed?
No, because I don't know. It's just like whoa, you know, like the ones where it's like kids and stuff that kind of like freaks me out a little bit. Like, it just adds to the list of why I don't want kids, but.
Almost. Yeah, I see. So like the kids who don't have like feelings or an emotion or like empathy, and they just.
No, like the people who kill kids.
Oh, the people who kill kids. Oh, that's even worse. Yeah. No, those are the ones that are scary.
Hello, Nicole.
Of course, I'm glad you can read that. I can't read anything.
I think it says Nicole.
Hello,
I
Niles.
Can't read it.
I can read it now. Hello, Niles. Hello. Just for everyone to know, my name is Niles. This is
Jesse.
And we're trying something new today. We're actually doing a video. That's why we had a clap in the very beginning. We also are live on our... I've given up on this. We're live on the Goofy Geek page. I know, I've given up on this thing. Oh, there we go. No, we're laughing because
did it say that the Showcase was a good one on Netflix? I can't read that second word.
Yes, it was on Netflix. Wow. And so we're on a live. So what happens is we love to to read the comments, and the problem is to see both of us, the camera has to be further away.
Yeah.
And I have a tablet here for us to read, and it never says us.
We love technology.
I hate technology. So let's just go on to our topic. Hopefully we can kind of read your comments. So please comment, because we do like people who are talking to us back. Which one do you want to start with? Because I know this is her.
Jeffrey, because that's the first.
The Jeffrey. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about Jeffrey Dahmer. So let's.
You said you knew him before reading him again, right?
Yeah, I had watched a lot of things about him. If I'm correct, and it is, this was basically going on during my high school years. So I remember him being arrested, and I remember all the Jeffrey Dahmer jokes about eating people and all that.
They made jokes about it. Well, I guess everyone makes jokes about everything.
But we were talking about the '90s, so everyone made jokes about everything. But yeah, that guy was pretty hardcore here. Let's go over. So he was born in the '60s in Milwaukee. So he has 17 basic kills, which, as we know, we have people on this list who have 1,000 more deaths
Yeah.
than.
What is happening?
Oh, here we go. I know. I don't like technology. That's the problem here. So the problem is we decided not to write down stuff, so we were going to go through technology for help. And so he was born in the 60s. He's the first of 2 sons. I didn't know this. His mom was a teletype machine instructor. You don't know what that is, do you?
I do.
You do? Okay. No, I'm not making fun of you. I mean, that's old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad was a chemistry teacher. You ever notice that the people who seem to really snap, parents were like the really, really smart people, like the people above and beyond.
Well, I don't know if you read it or not, but his dad taught him how to like clean bones.
Right. No. I'm trying to say, because he's a chemistry teacher, and it's one of those moments where dad does something kind of legit, and then it becomes son or daughter or someone takes it too far. And I'm not sure if people understand how crazy that is. So I know. So he's basically raised as a normal guy.
Well, his mom was so depressed that she really didn't want anything to do with him.
Well, yeah, but I mean, his dad kind of, I don't remember anything about abuse or anything.
No.
Like, that's what I'm talking about.
Not abuse, but he's pretty much neglected.
Right.
Because his dad worked all the time and his mom stayed at home, but
he wasn't go ahead.
She had another kid, and he was I think he was like 6 years older.
Right.
So he was kind of like, by the time the other one came around, he kind of had to fend for himself, even though he's 6 years old. But his mom was so depressed and then the parents ended up divorcing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was the right guy. He stayed at the house, and like this childhood house, but his mom left with his younger brother, and his dad left to go live in a hotel. And so
then he was basically living alone, which he started at the age of 14, started drinking beer and hard alcohol in daylight hours. Mm-hmm. So see, I always have this crazy rule. And I think it's just a mental thing, maybe because I had a somewhat of a drinking problem. But I think when you're drinking during the day, you like, there should be clear signs that
something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Like, this is not a casual thing.
Right.
If you're drinking every day, and especially at the age of 14.
Right.
But this is such a different time, because I remember at a time, my parents never smoked, but I remember friends used to be able to like go down to the package store and give me a pack of cigarettes. Here's your money, and you go into the store and you'd be like, my mom wants 2 packs of cigarettes. Yep. And my friend would give her one, and he would sneak one out. And we were in high school, if you will. We weren't even like little kids. You know what I mean? Like, we were, but there were kids that used to go, like middle schoolers, to just go, and it had such a different attitude back then. Right. So by his early 20s, he lands up doing his first murder. Mm-hmm. And it
was 3 weeks after his graduation. Can you imagine? I don't think I could.
Yes, it was
I don't do it.
I was like, didn't he pick this person up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a hitchhiker.
Brought him to his house.
Yeah.
They did a little thing. And
yes.
Then the guy wanted to leave, and he's like, no, you better stay with me.
Well, if I'm correct, and I'm pretty sure I am, this is the guy who gets kind of obsessed with sexual acts. Yeah. With this, where he what he wants, he can't get, so he tries to make it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, he tries to make it happen. Because what he wants, his fantasy in his head is, I want someone to kind of just do whatever I want them to do. And as we all know, that doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
You know, in the world, and especially if you're a very disturbing person.
Right. We should have said too in the beginning that he started his obsession with like dead bugs, I think, first. At a very early age.
Right.
Dead bugs, dead animals. He wanted to see what the inside looked like and
Right.
how it worked.
That is like the number one sign.
Yeah,
Like, if
like-
you watch any like Law and Order, if you watch any type of thing,
Red
if
flag.
If you kill animals and enjoy like
Right.
or anything like that, you're automatically
Right.
in deep.
Right.
Cat down.
Sorry for the background noise.
No, it happens. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and his dad taught him, like we said, how to preserve the bones properly. So, like, red flag number 2.
Yeah.
And he kept all his bones.
Yes, he
he
did.
kept
And he
every
kept a
single
lot
one.
of
Yeah.
those things. So he kills his first movie when he's 20, and he lands up going to.
What's happening?
I don't know. All I know is technology hates me, and I'm not playing it like that anymore. So then we'll go to something else, because that's the way it has to be all the time. Everybody's got something. All right, so
Oh boy.
I know it's never
Nothing
easy.
can be smooth.
Nothing's smooth for us because you know why? You're not a technology person, and neither am I.
Right.
So when we go, hey, guess what? I saw this. It's never what we want it to be. So that's fine. Doesn't want to play ball? We'll play this way. That's okay. You can read all those comments anyway. All right. So he lands up going on this murder. So he gets through this first one, and he gets. See, this is what kills me. Like, really, I know, is that everyone always gets away with their first one.
Yeah.
So they feel brave enough to go to the second. And then they'll go to their third. And like,
he's
this
going
is
to
why
17.
I think the world is changed. Because I think by the first one, you're caught.
Yeah.
Like, there is no more getting through to a
Right.
second. I think that's why we don't really have
Unless
these.
there's like unsolved ones, which there's a lot of cases where there's
Right,
unsolved.
but I think in reality of it, like, serial killers, if you think about it.
Serial killers, yeah.
We don't have those like
Yeah.
we used to. Like, we don't have those. Like, most of all these people are, what would you say, 2000 and earlier, right?
Yeah.
Probably, maybe even earlier than 2000. Because
Well, one of them's like 100 years ago.
Right, yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
Which I didn't realize. But.
yeah, yeah, no, we have one of these that are like really old, and the object is technology, DNA, and all that stuff always lands up being more advanced for. So you can't get away with this stuff anymore,
Right.
which is definitely yeah, no, and I think that's the part that I think that's what makes it not scary.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear on the TV anymore. I mean, I can remember being a kid hearing about.
Really.
Yeah, I remember Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
I remember, them basically talking about they walk through the door, they go into his. I mean, I'm not trying to ruin the story here because I know I'm trying to set him up, but basically, they find the guy walking around with the hole in his head because he basically tries to. Drills a hole to try to do operation on his brain, so he kind of loses his function to decide or fight, or kind of he's kind of just a doll. And then they basically get the rights to go into his, not his rights, like a warrant to go into his house, and then they open up the refrigerator and the buckets, like the blue buckets, and it's just all this like.
People.
Yeah, meat.
Right.
It's not people, but it's like meat. Yeah, it's like, ugh. And you're just like, what is wrong? And if I'm correct, and I'm almost positive, because like I said, I remember, is that he said that he had an obsession where he needed to be closer to these people. So by eating them, made him as close as he could.
Right.
And every time I hear this, and I'm like, does he know it comes out the other end? Like, it doesn't stay in him. Like, these people. But this is, again, this is one of those topics that I have another person who on our list named Peter Nyler, and that he deals with black magic. So in his mind, he's trying to. It's like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to, like, for him it was black magic. He was trying to do something. He was trying to change himself.
Right.
So for him, for Jeffrey, what was he trying to do? And I think this is the hardest thing. And psychiatrist once said to me, one of those basically says is you can't put logic on people like this, because there is no logic. They don't think the same way we do. They don't have that box.
Yeah.
Like she explained to me there's a box, and you as a human being put stuff in the box, and you say, okay, that makes sense. This is in the box. This makes sense why this should be in the box. These people, there's stuff in the box, there's stuff out of the box. Like, there is no rhyme and reason. And when you walk up to the box and you're saying, why is there this in the box? Like, you can't just put your finger on it. Which, that is the scary part. That is the scary part. When you can't logic it. You can't put it in logic. Because it becomes too unpredictable. But yet they are predictable. Because they have a pattern.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Like,
and they usually, it's either a pattern or they leave something behind, or like there was one guy who like cut ponytails off, he's a ponytail cutter or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's, everyone has their thing.
So he gets arrested in 1991.
Oh, but before that, there was a 14-year-old that went to the police.
Right.
And he almost got caught, but they just thought that they were having an argument.
Right.
So they did nothing about it.
Right. Nothing.
Can you believe that?
Yeah. Well,
these days, that would never happen.
No.
They would look farther into it, and
right.
Plus, he was 14 and he was 19 at the time.
And I'm not trying. Yeah, but things were so different back then.
But this age, that would have red flag.
The problem that I think a lot of you.
He would have been arrested for child stuff.
Right. No, I think that's the toughest thing. Is that.
Right.
I mean, I just talked about a story about when people would be able to go into a store, to get cigarettes. For me personally, I always feel that it's a different age, a different mindset. People, I mean, we don't have to go that far back. When you know that if you're not married by a certain time, you're an old maid, and it's like 22. And you're like, well, if you're not married by 22 or some crazy number, you're an old maid. Yeah. So I'm not trying to defend police officers. I mean, this was 91. We can go way back. I mean, we have some of these people where you go, really? Yeah. How did you not know this? One of the big things I talked about was, which we're not going to talk about, was a countess who was loaded and was one of basically was running this small town, and she killed up to 650 people, but they figured out that there were other people that helped her, so they blamed her, the other people, and they just told her because she was royalty and trying to bring down anyone royal back then. And we're talking about I think it was sometime in the 15 or 1600, like, what are you going to do? Right. So they locked her in her castle, and she wasn't allowed to come out, and she ended up dying in there. But that was her punishment. Yeah. But nowadays, it'd be like, I don't care who you are. Like, there's no more of protection. There's no more, like, celebrities don't even have that protection anymore. They actually go down faster than anybody else, I feel. Yeah. Because as long as there's one person to throw them under that bus, they're done. So I think Jeffrey, for me, I'm going to say he's one of the scariest for the fact that it was a sexual thing for him, and then he started eating you. Like.
And then he kept your bones. Right.
And then, of course, the object is like, that's the part that I think a lot of people forget. he wanted a sex object, like a sex thing.
Yep.
And he drilled a hole into someone's head to do surgery to make them basically a non.
Did he put like different chemicals in there too?
Yes. He basically, his goal was to make you be a.
So that way he didn't have to kill you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't have to kill you, and you're just going to be a walking
object.
Good word. I was gonna say sex toy, because at the end of the day, it was. It's. I don't know. I can't imagine that one. All right. So what's our next one?
Albert Fish.
All right. I actually didn't know this one. I actually had to look up Albert Fish,
AKA the Boogeyman, or the Gray Man.
Yes, I actually, and he's not any better, by the way. I believe
he's pretty psycho.
Yeah, yes, he was. And when the best part about this was when I didn't know who he was, I spent almost good 45 minutes reading each thing he did, and in my head I was going, what year is this? And I kept flying back up again and going, oh, it's 1870 from 1930, like, and you're like, oh, because like a lot of people don't understand is during this time police left you alone, like they didn't want to bother you. You had to bring something to them for them to arrest you, because in their head they had enough things to do. They walked up and down the roads, and especially if you lived in some farmland, you never saw a cop.
Right.
If you lived in the city, you probably could see a cop on every corner. But I know you got all the notes, so go ahead.
So he was put into an orphanage after his father died, but then his mom picked him back up, him and his siblings. And I think it was like a couple of years later, because she decided that she couldn't raise them and go to work. And then she's like, just kidding, now I can.
And the best part is, just for you, I'm not trying to jump on this, but the best part is the father at this time is 43 years older than his mother.
Yep, he was 75.
It was,
and 75. He died of a heart attack at 80.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you already got this weird
dynamic,
which is not that weird at that time.
No,
because a lot of times, a lot of families brought their daughters to an older person that was established.
Yeah. That
had money, that had land, that could take care of their.
Right.
And they would get a kickback sometimes, like like if they were established and stuff, they would get an extra horse, an extra cow because they were family, and then they kind of had that umbrella over them, if you will.
Nicole said, I can't read that.
The Zodiac
Killer freaks me out.
Well, that one, of course, I always think that one's the worst because that's the one
since they haven't caught the person.
Because then you've never caught him. You don't know who he is. That's like unsolved. That is an unsolved mystery.
There's one in here that he goes missing. We don't know if he's alive or not.
Right. There is, like, we have 5 that we've picked. We tried to pick ones off the map. I know we could talk about Zodiac, and we could have, but we wanted to feel like Netflix got those, so like we're doing Albert Fish, like where literally you said Albert Fish, and I was like,
"Who the heck is that?"
I had no clue.
Actually, what I did was search like big serial killers,
right?
And I just picked ones that people wouldn't know, or that I didn't know, that I didn't think were that famous,
right,
or well known, I should say.
Right. No, but I like when you sent me the list. There's only 2 I knew.
Yeah.
I knew Jeffrey Dahmer because I was. I don't say alive. I guess I was. I was. In high school.
Part of that. Not part of it, but like.
It was during a very.
Influence.
Yeah, because I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
Like I was a freshman in high school, so the reality of this was going on. When they talk about the breakdown of it, going that could be me. Like you could. Somewhat relate
to it. Yeah.
Where this one is, it's 1930, 1930s ish, 20s, that's not even around. So he died. So the father's already too old. No, because the father basically, And a best part is his Fish family has a history of mental illness. His uncle suffered from mania. One of his brothers was confined in a state mental hospital, and his sister Annie was diagnosed with mental afflictions.
Whatever that means.
Well, no, see, here's the problem. When you go back to...
Read the next part.
Okay.
3 other relatives were diagnosed with mental illnesses, and his mother had an...
Sorry. Had hallucinations.
Yeah.
So, but you have to this is the part that I tried to put in my brain. You're going back to 18...
Right, so
18,
things have different
19,
names. And,
like 1819s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like you're going back to a point where there's no labels for stuff. There's
Right.
no, just think of anything. They didn't have those type of, like you were sick, you saw things.
Right, people aren't diagnosed with mania these days.
Right, like there's there's no
Right.
bipolar. Like
Right.
there's no bipolar. Like people can now sit back and go, he might have had bipolar or
Yep.
what have you, but there was no bipolar at this moment.
Right.
Like at that time.
Right.
I mean,
There's
half
no
the time,
research into
There's
it.
no research. Half these
You're just
people-
crazy or you're normal.
Um,
That's pretty much it.
if I'm right, we're not that far away from when people started shocking people.
Yeah, that's how he died.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
like it's around this time where people start really like, oh, you're sick? Let me put electricity through you. It's going to make you feel better.
Right. Or they used it for killing.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's
Yeah.
other things they did too.
Right.
But this is around the time. So,
He would write letters. So
go ahead.
back then they would have ads in the newspaper.
Right.
That anyone could pick an ad, like say like, I'm looking for a job, or I want to connect with this type of people, or something like that. So he would go through the newspaper
Yep.
and would find like all the girls that he would want, or the ladies, the women, and write letters to them, like sexual letters, and just not like, I don't think he got anything back from it, but he would write letters to them because they had an ad. It doesn't matter what the ad was for. If he knew it was a woman, then he would send one to her. Could you imagine?
Yeah, I don't even know. See, this is crazy. By 1890, by the age of 20, Fish had arrived in New York City. So that this is bad now.
Mm-hmm.
New York City is the worst place for him to be.
Right.
Because now he's like in the mecca of people, where people go missing all the time and nobody cares. That's how I always feel like during a certain time of and he has said at one point that he becomes a prostitute and begins raping young boys. In 1898, his mother arranges a marriage for him with Anna Mary Hoffman, who was 9 years younger than him. They had 6 children. Oh my gosh.
No thanks.
Well, no, see, this, like we
That's that time.
but at that time, this was normal. Like,
Right.
I mean, if you go back 2 generations from my family, like, so my grandmother, she had 9 children. Like, not my grandmother.
Yeah.
She's from 9.
Yeah.
And on my grandfather's side, there was like 6 or something like that. You know, like.
Yeah, my grandparents, one of 6, one of 7.
So,
like,
and why they had that because you worked on the farm, like you.
right. You needed those.
You needed
kids.
the hand, like you basically got your workers.
Pretty much.
You know.
Yeah.
And then they would go someday. The farm would be yours.
Yep.
So this is the worst thing because it's during these. I hate anything from 18 to like the 1900s because literally I feel like it's the Wild West time. People aren't. It's after the Civil War. Like people are kind of not all there, and if you know what I mean by like the world has changed a lot. So Fish works as a house painter and continues molesting children, mostly boys younger than 6. Okay, so this is getting yucky now.
He mostly does this to boys, right? He
Right.
doesn't really do it to girls.
No.
He wasn't really into girls,
Yeah,
but he was arranged for that marriage.
right. I think you see that's the trick. That's a trick back then. Like have you ever watched a news when they're like, Oh, I know. Remember that guy who had all those women in Cleveland, like locked in a house?
No.
Okay, well, there's a guy who had all these missing girls, but they were all women now in the house. And, like, every neighbor was like, oh, I wouldn't think Joe would do, like, whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
always the neighbor. Like, I would never. And this is what this is. This is, I have 6 kids. I'm married. My wife is happy. My kids are happy. But at blah, blah, blah time, I go to work, wink, wink, or whatever he does. And he does these disgusting things.
Not that it's good because it's younger boys too, but being gay wasn't accepted. It's still pretty much not. I mean, it's better now, but
Right, no.
it's not like it is now. Like it was not accepted back then.
The weirdest thing is, it was more than you think, but just not at this time. But
That's what
if
I'm
we
saying.
went further back, it like I was listening to a documentary about how like bisexual, gay was just normal, and
Really?
then the Victorian years came, which is around this time, and and the new religions came out during this time. That's why it's called the Victorian years, and everyone was like, "This is anti. This is I don't want you sleeping around. I don't want you doing this." Where when Victoria was a little girl, everybody was just kind of was with everybody. Like it was like back to Julius Caesar, Rome. Like everyone was having fun, doing whatever. So it's so weird to me that we have this thing.
Well, you're never taught that either.
Right, but it is. It's so.
It makes sense.
It's so weird that if you take the time and really go look at stuff, how things are really open up on some of these things. So this gets worse. So by this time, mostly boys, he later recounts an incident in which a male lover took him to a waxworks museum where Fish was fascinated by a bisection of a penis. So I'm not sure how that worked. Like, I don't know if it's like, if it was like the wax work museum was like, physically correct. I don't know. Like, I always think of that movie where that wax. You ever seen that old movie where he takes real people and puts them in wax, and that's why they look real, because they were like real wax people.
Ew.
Yeah, it's a movie though, but it's really gross.
What movie is that? Do you know? Off the top of your head?
No, I don't. I
Someone
want
leave
to
us-
say it's waxwork, but like someone's gonna say it's waxwork. Like, yeah.
Let us
of
know in
course.
the comments.
It's old. I think it's a Vincent Price movie. I don't know. I haven't seen it in 1,000 years, but I remember seeing it going, and he kept putting, and that's why everyone thought it was real. Like, oh my God, these look so real. Yeah, because
They were real.
they were real. There was really the people.
Real nasty in there.
Yeah. So
Did it not smell because they were covered in wax?
oh my gosh,
I'm sorry.
I would imagine that because they have to get dipped probably more than once. So yeah, I mean, you don't really smell wax unless there's something in there to smell when you burn it. But if you don't burn it,
Okay.
it always amazes me how there's waxworks at this time anyway. Because I always think like there's no AC, so on the hottest day when it start like melting. If you really want to know what I'm thinking, that's how I think.
Right.
Like I always think like, how did this stuff? Like I listen to documentaries all the time and literally stop. And maybe this is me. So if everybody else has a moment of like, oh yeah, but I clearly like always think, go, hey, how can this happen? This isn't. This can't be happening.
He's
Like,
have giant fans blowing on him.
yeah, but no. But this is before like 1890.
I know.
Something is before electricity. There weren't even
1910,
cars.
yeah.
Like 1917, there weren't even cars yet. Or if there are cars, it's
Very.
very few. The rich
Right.
has them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's just.
Move along here.
Yeah, because just put it this way. He starts getting really bad about himself. He starts hurting himself really bad.
And he actually applies that to like sexual too. Like he likes being hurt sexual, like during those sexual times. Doctors found over 20 needles.
29
29?
29 needles lodged into his pelvis
Yeah.
region.
You imagine? Ew. Bleh.
He also hit himself repeatedly with a nail-studded, oh no, I didn't want to finish this, paddle, and inserted a wool doused with lighter fluid into his butt and set it on fire. Okay. So
I did hear that part. He also had his kids beat him up. Like, he would have his kids sit on his back, and I think he would have to guess how many fingers the kids were holding up. And if he got it wrong, they would have to beat him up. And he loved it. But he would never beat his kids. He never beat his kids, but he would kill other kids.
Okay. It's so weird because, like, I read this, and now I'm like, when you read it, I feel like it's like in your head, you just go, oh wow, this guy was sick. This guy had a lot of problems.
But saying out loud again.
I'm saying it out loud. It's like, oh, I actually have to say these words out loud. Like, ugh. Like, it brings a whole new light to stuff.
Yep.
So,
Let's get to his killings.
let's get to this death here, because we're going to move along here, because we got too many of the other ones here. We're already
Half an hour deep.
Yeah.
Albert was never a suspect for any of them. For the longest
No, because
time.
he had a good cover, like everybody else does. Just like Jeffrey Dahmer, like, oh, I'm a clean cut guy. I'm not just like Ted Bundy. You're not me. Couldn't be me. I'm
right.
I'm me. I'm like everybody's always. I feel like the more normal you are, you're not normal.
Yep.
Like something's wrong. It's almost like, so if you're going through your Facebook and they look super normal, be afraid.
Right.
No, seriously, because I almost feel like that's the same thing with, like, for me personally, when you get those politicians that are so like, I do this, you're just like, there's something behind there. There's something. Not that they're serial killers. They're just, that just can't be. Right. Everyone's life has skeletons, and that's just how I feel. I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's just my opinion. I always feel like everybody's got something. So, all right. So his trial. Go ahead. You can read your notes.
There's confirmed. They confirmed 3 deaths that he did, but they think that he killed over 100. Yes,
and none of the jurors doubted that Fish was insane.
Right.
So he was basically at that time. So Fish arrived in prison in March 1935. Wow. So by 36, he's in an electric chair at Sing Sing, and he dies.
Yep.
That is.
So, because this is gonna sound a little weird.
Another sexual act, like it's another sexual fantasy that goes too far. Like, well, not fantasy, but whatever.
Right. This is gonna sound a little weird and a little crazy, but do you think he enjoyed his way out because he loved pain so much on himself?
Well, electric chair is odd because you have to. Usually, they put the mask on you, like a hood on you, and you're down, like you're tied down.
But he liked.
I know. Stuff. I get he liked it, and I'm not trying to say. But again,
I'm sure he didn't want to die.
Yeah,
but
I think it's one of those moments where maybe the first inkling of pain was, oh yeah, and then as obviously it gets to a point that it's going to kill you, it probably was like, okay, this is too much. Like, it's always a line. Yeah. Like, everyone likes pain, but there's a line.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure somebody can sit here and say, no, not really, but I always feel that there's a line somewhere.
Yeah.
Because there's always a line. That's why we have safe words.
Right.
All right, so this is one I know.
John Wayne Gray. The clown killer.
Yes, I've heard this guy.
Or the killer clown.
Killer clown. And but this is another guy.
Yeah, he looked normal.
Like, this is the normalest guy you ever meet in your life.
I was watching a documentary on him today, and the guy was like, you wouldn't suspect him because he was pudgy, well-known. I'm like, did
he met the president, didn't he? I'm almost 100% this guy met the president. Like, that's how, like, he was so politically, he was running for mayor in Corinth. This guy was, like, big time. This guy was like the guy of the year. I almost, because I didn't read about him because I actually watched a documentary, so I was like, oh, I know what I'm talking about with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, he was part of the Democratic Party,
Yep.
and this guy was like the bomb, and not in a million years. And of course, on top of that, he is a clown performer going to kids' parties.
Because nobody suspects a clown.
Uh-oh.
But he's a really cocky guy.
Yeah, he was.
He like went up to police and be like, "Oh, do you want this?" Like, oh, one of his famous lines is like, "Do you want any weed?" to the police.
Yeah.
Like as a joke. And then the police went to were following him around.
Mm-hmm.
They went to a bar and he bought him a round of beers. Just because he's that cocky.
Well, because he was in the he was in politics. He was in he was so squeaky clean that everyone just took it as sarcasm.
Right.
Like, hey, do you want, I'll buy you some drinks. Do you want me to buy you, and everyone would be like, oh, good one.
Right. Right.
Not in a million years thinking that this guy would be this. And I think the best is there is a picture of him that I won't forget where he's in his clown makeup. And because he says the clown makes him do it. Mm-hmm. And if I'm right, he buries everyone in the basement. Doesn't he bury him?
In the crawl space.
In the crawl place. Yeah. So.
Nasty.
First of all, there you go. Right there. Right there. Burying somewhere. Where's the, can you smell the smell?
Well, they said that.
Like that.
Right.
That would be the. Remember
they said I think something was broken and they went down there, they didn't see anything.
Right.
And a couple times. Right, they sent him a couple times. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they got I think when they arrested him, they got the warrant to go in there and they actually dug the first scoop. They found somebody.
Yeah, I know.
That's so gross.
But
and how many were down there? 27.
Yeah, 27, yeah. And my best thing is when you see the picture of the clown, right away, if you look at any old, have you seen old Mickey Mouse things from Disney? Mm-hmm. They're creepy. Mm-hmm. Have you seen pictures of old Easter bunnies? They're the scariest things you ever seen in life. If everyone's seen a picture of those, they're the scariest things in your life, especially those old things. You see a picture of him as a clown. I don't have a picture of him right now.
He's pretty scary.
It's not even a funny. I think to myself, what kid's laughing at that?
Right. Did you notice that the shape of his mouth looks more like a bat than a smile?
Yeah. But I also think this guy is probably not putting his makeup on
It's true.
Like when you girls put in your makeup
right.
Oh, I smudged it, do it all over again. He's like, it's a little smudged here. It's good. I'm just killing people today. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And then he blames the clown. He does. That's how he says the clown makes him do it. Mm-hmm. Which I always sit back and I say, if the clown's making you do it,
stop being the clown.
Yes, right here. He met the First Lady Carter, Rosalind Carter, which is not the president, but it's
pretty much.
Which pretty much, he's right there. Yeah. He's right there and all that. Yeah, that's the part that always makes me, what goes on? You're right there. You have so much. So it's
an urge to desire.
So once again, like I just said, Gacy meets the First Lady at the time. It's 1978, and it's 6 years after his first murder and 7 months before his final arrest. So it's near the end. He's on top of, again, this is the stuff I never get, is people are on the top of their game compared to the rest of us, and yet you're still, it's gambling. I almost think murder is like gambling. It's like they have to keep going. One more dollar, I can make $1,000 off this $1, or that's usually their attitude. And again, these people are on top of things. It's like everyone who got interviewed. I would never think him. He was such a good guy. He ran for office. I saw him kiss babies. I saw him. It couldn't have been him, because I feel like that's every murder since TV came out. Is a microphone goes into the next door neighbor's face, and the next door neighbor's like, yeah, not that guy. He was
Right.
nice.
Well, he had his own
He gave
contract.
out full candy bars on Halloween.
He was a contractor. He had his own business.
Yeah.
And like, if it was a nice day out, he'd be like, "Oh, like you're good for the day.
Right.
We'll just tomorrow or whatever." He would hire young kids, like 14, 15-year-olds who want to come work, and lure them in.
Yeah, I have.
Most of his
I hate
victims were either employees or runaway kids too, so nobody would miss them.
Right. And like everything else, like a prostitute, like people that are, like at that time, when I say prostitute, like people walk, streetwalkers, which no one's like, they're runaways already. Like they're, unfortunately, and then like, oh, they're not going to miss them, or how are you going to report? It's kind of like, it's funny we're talking about the weed. It's like your weed dealer. What was I saw in the news? A guy reports his weed dealer screwed him, like, so he wants his money back. He's like, yeah, you're already in trouble, buddy.
Right.
You're already in trouble. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I didn't even know he died in 94. So even though this happened in 78, this guy wasn't, he had to still be young, but that's why I didn't even know.
He was 52.
33 counts of murder. And one
And
count.
he killed, he left 27 women in his crawl space.
Yeah, it says 33 plus deaths, 12 criminal penalties. Excuse me. So they had, when he went to court, he had 12 counts, because that there's always like, I'm trying to think. I heard of another one, and I can't think of it because I'm doing this right now, because God forgive, I can think of it. Where the person was smart enough that admitted all the murders, and it already had passed its due, like they couldn't prosecute him because they were already past its due.
Oh yeah.
But he had killed, like he killed 100, but 50 was, he would admit before this time. So they were like, oh, then we can't. And he still got in trouble, but it was like nothing. It was a slap on the wrist. And he was already, if I'm correct, I think he was already like done. Like he was old. Like he was 70, probably wasn't going to get much anyway,
Right.
But
this guy actually gave a map of his crawl space to the police.
Yeah, because once he got,
and then later said that he wasn't guilty or pleaded not guilty. Like you gave it. It was the exact spot.
I know.
Like you can find everybody in there. And now you're not guilty.
What
is that?
It is the. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's not me. I will not get in trouble. I mean, that's all I can think of. Is the other thing is too. Again, it's the whole. Come on now. It's the cockiness of it.
Yeah.
All. It's the. We talked from the very beginning. It's out of logic. Like for you and me, it's like, how could you not? In his head, he's like, oh, this magical clown will make sure there's no bodies there. There's no bodies there. Because we're, again, trying to put common sense on something that has zero common sense.
Right. His last words. Actually, he was killed by lethal injection. But his last words were, kiss my ass.
That's the way it should be. He went out with a blaze of glory. I kind of... I don't respect him because of what he did. It's nasty and gross. But I respect the had, like, hey, it is what it is.
Right.
Like, what are you going to... Like, what are you going to do?
Right.
What are the greatest words you're going to say from a serial killer at the very last things?
Right.
Like, you're not going to throw out, Lincoln's speech. Like, there's nothing you're going to do.
I didn't do it.
There's nothing you're going to do. You're going to get yourself dead. All right. What's the next one on the list, boss?
Pedro Lopez.
Now, I didn't know this one
He's
either.
a monster of Andes.
I had no idea.
This is the guy who... Yep. You don't know where he is.
Go ahead. No, I don't know this guy at all. Like, I don't have a clue about this guy.
Well, I only wrote a few details about him because I didn't...
No, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch a long video about this guy.
Yeah.
But he was raped and molested by a lot of people, so that's probably why it started. Like, he was raped by employers and...
Well, first of all, he's a serial killer and a child killer. And who was sentenced for killing 110 girls. So this is a...
he actually killed more than 300 girls.
Right. But it's a sentence for killing. Like,
yeah, he said...
Because we already know, whatever number it is, it's double.
Out there.
Because they only tell you A, and there's always C out there. And it's...
They were all oh my god. I'm going to butcher this name. indigenous
There you go. You did better than me.
girls, like from different areas. There's like 150 in one area, like 200 in another area, like crazy.
How does the world work? Well, it's 1948, so it's not that he's not that. Like, this is not that old, if you understand what I'm saying. Because he's alive and going in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like he's, 1920 or something crazy like that. So, but who is claimed to have killed and raped more than 300 girls across Colombia, Peru, and oh my gosh! Like,
take your time.
No, I read this
Ecuador?
stuff. Ecuador. I'm sorry. I just read this stuff and I just think to myself, like, how do you have 300? Like, where do the police go wrong with this? Like, do they just don't care?
Well,
that's why again, I'm putting my nowadays, now logic onto something that they probably didn't. Well, we're talking about cell phones. We're talking about pre-computer. Well, yeah, pre-computers, and I mean that's the best thing. Like, I'm going to go back to when you watch Law and Order in 1990. There's computers like a big box, like
it's a dinosaur,
and it's like it can only do so much, and so you sit there and you're like, oh my gosh, like no wonder nothing got done here, like because.
Right.
Like, we all have computers. Like, I'm on one right now. We just had one fail on us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have one here. We have a phone. We have a phone here, Like, and it's just amazing how, like, you just think to yourself, these bad people were so bad because of the time they lived in, where if they lived now, they definitely would not have 300. I mean, 300. It's just absolutely.
That's a lot.
Yeah, there's no... And so I assume with this guy, he just was I don't
think they have much information on it.
They really don't, but but most of these people are just like in and out, like like grab them, kill them, rape them, move them on.
Yep.
Like, there wasn't like this where the others had like a big like, hi, I'm
like lure.
I'm Ted. My hair's dressed nice. You want to go have a few drinks with me?
Yeah.
Come back to my house. Drip, drip. Something in your drink. You're passed out. Like, they didn't have all this. This guy actually probably at the end of the day, from how I look at it, is a complete monster because he's just going through
and just killing people.
Just random. Like, he's because there's almost zero. Because that's the only thing. When I read this, it was really just. Like, he was just like right here, claims that during car theft he was brutally like gang banged. Like, he's just going out and he's hunting down the most, like he's just raping and killing whatever comes his way. So there's no. I think it's someone walking down the street. He's like, I want this done, which to me is the scariest because they're unpredictable, and those are the ones who. Why are those the ones who walk down the street and no one will catch them, but the guy who does A, B, C, D will get caught like right away? Like, okay, if I do this, I won't get caught. And then the guy who just walking down the street, like you, and you're like, shouldn't that be the easiest one to catch?
Right.
The girl screaming, but then he never gets caught. His whereabouts is unknown.
No, he does get sent to jail, but he gets let out early for good behavior.
Right. And then he just...
Which is crazy. Killing 300 girls and you get out for good behavior. And now we don't know where he is.
And this is all... Yeah, imprisonment in August 94. So he's... I'm probably going to say he's dead now.
Yeah, probably. Because he was, 1948 when he was born?
Yeah, he's 48, so... He's got to be.
He'd be 72 right now.
Yeah.
He might be dead. He might be alive. Hope he's not killing more people.
Probably COVID slowed him down a little bit. I don't know.
Probably not.
No, because I can't imagine. Like, there's a point where your body, like, how are you strong enough to take on a 20-year-old kid, like, a young adult, when you're 72? I mean, I can't. I'm not saying it's not.
No,
right,
no, no.
But
Yeah.
the odds. Ugh, that scares me. Right there, that scares me. Not because he's still around, because the people who can do stuff and just keep going,
Right.
those are the ones that scare me. Because the ones that are like, oh, well, there's a monster in my head, or someone told me, you're kind of like, well, someone's controlling you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense to me, but someone's controlling your head.
Right.
But
He just went and did it. That was all him.
That was all him. All right. Let's go to our next one here.
Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
By the way, I didn't know this one either. You did a good job with like finding ones that I had like zero clue. And this one is kind of I guess what? He just passed away in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember this guy, and he's clearly during my era of time, because he's convicted in 1989. I don't remember hearing about this guy. So go ahead, because you got all the fancy notes.
So his kind of fantasy, or what is this called? Like his
fantasy, his obsession.
His obsession, yeah, started because his cousin was a veteran, and he told Richard everything that he did in the military, like as in he killed people, he raped people, he
shared right here Polaroid photos of a Vietnamese woman he had raped, murdered, and dismembered. That's
and then told him how to do it. Yeah. Can you imagine your cousin doing that?
No.
Could you imagine your cousin I think, how old is he at this time? I think he was like 10.
He's 10.
Yeah.
Because he's smoking marijuana and drinking alcohol.
Yeah, so you take your 10-year-old cousin, like, hey, listen, look what I did. I killed somebody. I raped her. Like, could you imagine? That's so scary
but
as a 10-year-old. And now you created a monster.
But as a 10-year-old, he doesn't even respond to it.
He probably thinks that's pretty cool.
Like, he's just like, whoa, hey, let me see those pictures.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't help. He's smoking 2 joints and drinking beers.
Yeah.
While he's listening to his eldest cousin gruesome war stories. So during all this, he already has like the worst thing going through him, like his drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Because that already warps your mind to some degree. We're talking about a 10-year-old that hasn't even done anything in their lives.
Right.
Like, they haven't even hit puberty.
Right.
And here he is saying how awesome this is. And he probably has, what is that? Like that hero complex. Like, this guy went to war. This guy did this. How awesome is this? And then...
so he's living with his cousin right now and his wife. And then his cousin shoots his wife.
Yeah.
And he gets sent and starts living with his sister and a brother-in-law. And now the brother-in-law takes him out at night, and they stare through windows of girls.
As a peeping Tom.
Yep. See girls undress, take a shower, use the bathroom.
And like at this age now, as he's a little bit older, because it's 1973, or around that time, he starts using LSD, which I don't know if you know, but at one time, they started using LSD as therapy.
Really?
At one time. Oh no, is it Cary Grant? I think Cary Grant who falls into, like, he's going every week to have this LSD therapy. So he thinks that it does like wonders. I'm pretty sure it's Cary Grant. I'm sure
somebody let us know.
Someone's going to correct me on
That's
this.
your job.
Unfortunately, I watch a lot of documentaries and stuff, so I sometimes forget exactly. I think Cary Grant who lands up. But it is true. They do therapy with LSD. And so he gets to a point where he wants everyone to do it. But it trips you out. Like, you're giving you false realities with this stuff, where it's supposed to open you up and you're supposed to talk about stuff that, So here he is now beginning at using, and now on top of that, here we go, Satanism.
Yep. He loves Satan.
Because
loves him.
Okay.
Later on, he starts doing the what is that called?
The pentagram.
Yeah.
Pentagram, right?
Why does it sound weird?
I know. I sang it wrong.
Whatever it is.
Right. Thanks. Throw me under the bus.
No, because I can't think of it either. Like, that sounds like it could be right, but I'm not 100% sure.
I know. So he starts his first murder is in 1984.
9-year-old.
A 9-year-old Chinese American girl. What is wrong? In the basement apartment building where they are living at the time in San Francisco.
How do you just live there and kill somebody in there and then continue sleeping there?
I told you, it's logic without logic.
I get that, but
like,
I don't know. Like, I guess it just goes with the whole mentality of it, but...
Well, I think a lot of these people who do these things get a little proud of it. I don't want to use that word proud.
Yeah, no.
But they keep walking down and they're going, there it is. That's the room I did it. Like, it's like a memory. And then it's a good memory, not a bad memory. Where for us, it'd be like, your attitude's the right way. Like, I couldn't do that. Like, I can't even... I totally relate when someone says, oh, I was married to my husband for 15 years and they just had a heart attack and died. I can't live in that house anymore. And I go, I get it.
Yeah.
I get great memories, and every time you turn a corner, he's mentally there, or she's mentally there, or what have you. And I just, for me, I don't get it. It's, ugh. But here it is. It's 84. He's already old enough. And he goes after a 9-year-old child. Like, that already takes a certain type of person. Because I could never hurt a child.
Right.
Like, I could never. I mean, we talk about all the time, if you have a child or your favorite dog hanging on a cliff, who would you save? And I'd be like, I saved the child. Not that I would want to save them both, but if you can't, they're always a child, because they have their whole life to become something great or something, whatever it is. Or if it's something bad, it's their life to live, you know.
Right.
And, you know, I can't even imagine taking a 9-year-old child.
Right.
Which she was with her 8-year-old brother when she is reported lost. Lost a $1 bill and went to look for it. Oh, so she went looking for something and then he bumped into him. Like that. I hate that stuff. Like, that is the...
Yucky.
And then, so he starts to beat and strangle and rape this poor 9-year-old, stabbing her to death.
Scared me. Just the timing.
Outside noise. Yeah, that is, perfect timing, right?
Right.
And becomes the Night Stalker spree until, wow, this is 2009. I'd never heard this guy.
I've never heard of him either.
And,
I feel like
and like, it goes all the way to 2019, and then in 2016, which is still not that long ago.
No.
Evidence.
That was 5 years ago.
I know. Like, how am I not knowing about this? How did I not hear this on the news? So he basically breaks into your house. He basically was breaking into people's house and killing them. And then...
there was one case where he hid behind, like, a tree or something. Saw one woman pull into her garage, and then he shot her in her head in the garage.
Right.
And she put her hands up, and he thought he was dead, but she put her hands up. It hit her keys. Oof. It ricocheted back, so she actually lived. But there was a root, so he left her, thought she was dead.
Right.
Went inside. The roommate was in there, hiding in the kitchen behind cabinets. And then she heard it, because she heard the gunshot. She was there.
Right.
And so she's hiding, and then she goes to peep her head up to see, like, if he's gone, so she can run out.
Right.
He sees her, shoots her in the head, she dies.
Oh. Like, how are you so close?
Right.
How are you so close? See, that's the stuff that, like, you see, like, these are moments where, when something like that, I played dead the whole time. Like, I lay there for 5 hours if I had to.
Yeah. And then
I probably would, you know what would happen to me? You ever seen the, no, this is an old movie, so I don't know if you, Friday the 13th, where the girl goes on the table and she's so scared she pees herself, so he sees the puddle. That'd be me. The guy would probably be like, "Oh, there's pee over there. He's probably alive." I'd be like, "No, I'm just dead pee.
Just leaked out.
It's dead. You know, when you die, relaxes your.
Right.
You know, I'm just peeing because I know that would be me. I'd just be like, yeah, I'm done, and I'd be. I don't know. That's just. I'm making a joke out of it. But I'd be being dead serious. I lay there and I would not get up. I wouldn't move. I wouldn't care. Oh no.
The Night Stalker. Is that who you're talking about?
Yes,
Yes,
about
Michael.
the Night Stalker. Yes. I never
But
heard
then
of this
an
guy.
hour later, after that, shooting those two women, he went and tried to steal a car, shot the woman, and didn't take the car, ran away. So what was the point? Why?
Well, yeah. Then he went down the street to try to steal one. See, again, this is like this is the like common sense with normal people like us put on to like murderers and go, why wouldn't you just take the car that was right there that you just shot?
Because that was your goal, to steal the car, because he wanted a car.
Right.
And he shot him. He was like, oh, just kidding, I don't want this one.
Oh, broke a window. Be in it. Because I'd be me. I'd be like,
my
yep.
God.
No, I would be like, yep, nope, all done. Oh, no.
And then he went into somebody's house.
Yeah.
It was a wife and husband, shot the husband. They were in bed. It was nighttime.
Right.
Shot the husband, and then he tied her to the bed. And he said, where are your valuables? And she told him. He went to go get it. She snuck her hands out and knew that there was a shotgun underneath her bed. While he was still trying to find the stuff, she snuck down like really quietly, grabbed the gun. And then when he came back in, she went to go shoot him. The gun wasn't loaded. So that made him really mad.
They shot him.
He shot her 3 times.
Right.
Scooped her eyeballs out, put it in a jewelry box, and brought it with him.
Wow.
Ew.
Oh, see,
like, what do you want the eyeballs for?
But see,
what do you need that?
This is the problem. This is the argument I have with the. See, this is moments like this that I have the gun argument. Because see, if the gun was loaded, I would have shot my kid by accident because I would have been like, because when my kid was little, she was the king of being like right in my face. I mean, like I could feel her nose exhale on my face. And I would be like, oh my God. So
right.
I don't like guns. I don't have guns in my house.
I don't like guns either.
Doesn't mean I don't respect people who have guns.
Like,
right.
Your
fine.
choice.
My choice. But my choice is I know I'd probably shoot somebody that I love because.
See, if I'm in that,
think I can wake up and have enough brains. Do you, no,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
absolutely.
I think I wake up with reaction more than logic sense. Now, if I had a gun, if I had to have a gun in my house, I would have a gun and then the bullet someplace else, and then so I'd be just like that lady when the actual bad guy come in and I take out my gun, I'd be like, yeah, I ain't got no gun, I got no bullets in this, I'm screwed. But I don't I say to myself, okay, Niles, what would you do? And I keep thinking to myself, yeah, I still wouldn't do that.
Okay.
He does messed up stuff. Yes, he does. He ends up doing a lot of messed up stuff.
He's actually really... Oh, my God.
I know. The problem is...
Interesting story. I'm kind of morbid. I like watching the shows about him. Yeah, we like watching him, too. Listening to him.
I love watching all that stuff.
All right. This tablet...
I can't believe there's no words on it.
It needs a minute.
It needs a minute. It needs to be shot. I need
with an unloaded gun.
I need a serial killer to shoot this tablet just for the fact that I can't believe that it says that no one's talking, but yet I can see everyone's writing right here. That's funny. All right, so we have enough time for one, which is mine. Okay.
Oh, he's actually in the Museum of Murders.
Oh, is he?
I
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Again, how do I not know this guy when he's literally like all this happened like now, like?
Right? Yeah, he's in the. I want to go to that. I do, but I don't. Like I just not for like. I don't know, because I'm into like true crime, but I don't know if I want to see it.
Yeah, I know. See,
Like I feel like it'd be very like that feeling. I can already feel it now. Like it's just very
like your palms start to sweat. You get that like
palms are sweaty. Mom's
like
spaghetti.
you're just like this is real.
Yeah.
Like I'm going in. You know what I had? I watched.
I can feel the anxiety attack happening.
I went to a place where they it was a museum that had like torture things. And I'm trying to think where I was, but it had like torture things in them, like like things medieval torture, and they're like, "This is real, like this is real stuff." And I remember being, oh, I know, I was in London, I believe, and I went to where like legit like torture stuff in the museum, and I remember walking through there and getting the heebie-jeebies, like somebody died with this on, or somebody like this is real, like somebody used this, like I'm in London, so this is real. Like this isn't someone just built this to look like it. Right. This is real. And like my mind, see, that's my big thing. I don't know about you. I don't know about you guys, but my mind gets really big into like me. Like, okay, what would I do? What would I do different? Or what? And you can't. There is no, because especially back then, if they accuse you, you're it. You're done. There's no talking your way out of it. There's no off good behavior. There's no back then. Right. And so I remember like there were ones where like it kept your eyes open. There was ones that, like the wheel. They showed the wheel, how they tie you up and how they would like stretch you and break your bone. And I just think like, how could you handle that?
See, I feel like I want to go to that murder museum, but I feel like I get one step in and be like, no, I can't do it. I shut down and like I paid for it and Oh my god. I'm very on edge right now.
Yeah, you are jumpy.
Oh my god.
Oh, so when
it gets me a little like a little anxiety, but I like it.
This last one, I found that last one scary because I would have told you, well, from the beginning, I said everything's from 2000 because I didn't even know that was like 2016. Forget that. Screw that. I'm out.
Right. Gotta go.
I can't because I clearly won't sleep tonight because I already have that thing where
I didn't sleep last night, so I might sleep tonight.
Like you just be like, listen, whatever you want, just do. I'm gonna sleep. I didn't sleep last night.
I feel like in a fight or flight situation, I'd just be dead. Like if I was in that woman's position where the gun didn't work. Yeah. Or like I wouldn't even try. If I knew I was tied up, I probably wouldn't try and get out. I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
I would do. I would. I
don't know. Maybe
I think I would have just took the gun and like became a baseball bat. Just just stood kind of laid there.
Well, he had a gun too.
Yeah, I know, but just be like.
She didn't know it wasn't loaded.
I know. So in her mind, I think you have to try. I think we all do. I think all of us have to try. You have to have that moment of, I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump off this cliff. I'm going to whatever, like I'm going to shoot this gun. I'm going to, because if it works, you're here tomorrow. If it doesn't work, then you weren't going to be here tomorrow anyway. That's why I talked about the gun, like the whole gun thing. Yeah. Like I could never have a loaded gun because I would land up shooting someone I love or somebody.
I just don't think I would have the mentality to do it. Like I don't think I could shoot somebody.
Well, I could.
I don't think I could.
I don't think I could shoot someone. Again, I can't be a serial killer because I don't think I could kill small children. I can't women. I could kill men. I couldn't like people who look at me like I have a family. Like I have, and I'd be like, yeah, get out of here. I get it. Yeah. But I could clearly kill someone if someone was at if someone walked in with a gun.
So you could do it for self-defense.
Yeah, self-defense. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I would be completely helpless.
Me or him or her. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm not. And I know I could do that because I always feel like once you get in fights, like once you get in that first fight of your life, and I've been in a fight where it was like, and it was like that. It was like, okay, it's gonna be me or him, and he's beating the hell out of me. What am I going to do? Mm-hmm. And I finally said enough, and I fought back. Mm-hmm. But once you have that, it's like for me, it was like a little switch. Yeah. Where it was like me or him. Mm-hmm. Who is it going to be? And I was like, yeah, not going to be. I mean, I was fist fighting. It's not like we have guns. But I always think to myself, if I know this is my last moment, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying I won't try to talk my way out of something. Yeah. Because there's certain situations that you're.
Well, they would just give you right back.
Yeah.
If somebody would steal you, they could just give you right back.
Oh yeah, someone's. If
Like, no, not this guy.
No, yeah. That's how I always. I tell my daughter. I used to tell my daughter, "So what happens if I get taken? No one's gonna take you.
Right.
They're gonna give you right back. 5 minutes of I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I want to do. I would be like, here you go.
Right.
You're gonna be calling me up. Be like, hey, you want this kid back? No, it's fine. You can have her.
All right, let's do your guy.
No.
You
No.
gonna do this guy? Or we're gonna...
All right, we can
do it. Do him quick.
All right, so my which our last guy is Peter Nyler. Now he is from the 1540s to the 1580s. He's a German serial killer. So none of you guys gonna probably, if you know him, you're a big fan of this stuff. But what I like about this guy, which I don't know why I just said that, but I can't, is that he has had 544 murders, including 24 fetuses cut out of pregnant women, allegedly, ready for this?
No,
to be used for black magic. So he could have he could be an extreme powerful black magician with many supernatural abilities. And for these acts, he needed cannibalism, so he ate the small children. Okay, so first of all,
I'm going to throw up.
This is gross. No, but see.
When is this? Oh, 1540?
So this is 1540. And so what he would do is, because I listened to a whole thing about him. I don't know how I got so excited listening to this. But he would, back then, if it was a road well-traveled, it was called a highway. Not how we know it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a road that was well-traveled. So it was well-traveled, so he would sit and he basically would rob/kill you because he was like a highwayman, if you will. Okay, so here's my thing that I always, there's my logic. Remember you had the logic, here's my logic, okay? If you have killed 24 fetuses, did anything work? That after, like, at some point, did you become more powerful? Like, this is why I question about black magic.
Maybe mentally.
Black magic has been around as long as we know anything. Like, this is just books and Satanism and all this stuff. Tell me when it works. Because once you do A, why did you have to do B? Because if A worked, I'd been like, hey, I ate this kid and I flew.
Right.
Like, then I'd be like, now for me, I couldn't do this. But, like, I can make an argument of being like, hey, if I ate another kid, they say I can shoot fire out of my hands. Like, or whatever it's written. I don't, because they don't show you the book, and I'm not looking it up.
Yeah.
Cause,
no, thank you. They're telling to eat fetuses? No thanks.
So, but my big thing is that what I love about this guy is that this guy gets arrested. He gets off. Okay? He first arrested and escapes, actually. Right?
Ted Bundy, who?
He escapes. Okay? Okay? And then he credits his escape. Ready for this? Because of his superpowers. He's a black magician.
I can't.
Okay? And he says, because he physically transformed into a goat, a bat, or a cat at will. I just want you to know, anyone who thinks that they're changing themselves into an animal or anything and got away, like, can you imagine this guy? The guy
with a cat, meow.
This is why I found this so funny, because I can picture like the police going by and the goat, and you see there on all four going bah bah. I'm sorry. I know this is horrible because it's so old. I think we can laugh about
Nicole agrees with you. Why you love this guy, I think.
Yeah.
It's the same as people bathing in blood for beauty or...
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, they're crazy, okay? So now you have this guy who I totally, in my head, listen to this, pictured him on the side of the road going barking. Like, people walk by, where is this Peter? oh, not there. There's Fido. Like, it's just
There's
walking
Fido.
along. And just walking along. And I'm sorry. I think it's funny. I'm sorry. I know it's bad, but I can't
What else
even-
about him?
I know. Okay, so by the time he's caught again, because his black powers must have ran out. Okay, he lands up being tortured for 3 days. On the first day, now listen to this. Now this is his torture.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the time where medieval people torture. Like, this is what you did.
Yeah.
This was your punishment. Okay, so this was his punishment for the 500 and some odd people he killed and all the small children, the baby fetuses. Ugh. The first day, he has strips of flesh torn from his body and heated oil poured into his wounds.
Oh,
Okay, that's day
yucky.
one. That's day one. That's day one. So,
bleh.
see, you know the guy you're talking about that likes stuff? There you go, right here. Okay? On day 2, his feet were smeared with heated oil and then held above glowing coal, thereby roasting them.
Oh my god.
So,
Okay.
at what point does this guy's like, just chop off my head? Like, this is... I'm wondering if the black magic helps him right now.
Now he
How
needs
much
to
you want
eat
to bet
another
he's
fetus.
barking? I'm not Peter. Sorry. On the third day, this is all like this is when they say day, they mean the full day too. This is the whole day. Like, so it's a good 12 hours because they don't do it at night. He is dragged to the place of execution and broken on the wheel. So when they mean broken, the wheel was slammed down upon him 42 times. Still alive, he finally was dismembered by quarters. So he didn't even die with the wheel being slammed on his body.
It's a black magic.
It's a black magic. So they had to cut him up and then they spread
He's
it.
a cat. He's got 9 lives.
That is funny. Not funny. That is. We did. That is hilarious, by the way. I don't care what anyone says.
It's not funny, but
No,
you
it's
got
not
to make
funny.
light of it.
You do.
That's our,
Well,
it's our,
I always feel like there has to be a time. Like, that wasn't funny when it was like.
No,
Was
no.
yesterday. But this
Right.
is like 1540. I think we
and
can.
the stuff that happened to him, or that he did.
I know. It's.
For what?
I don't like, this is what I don't get. I'm really mad I didn't get to the last guy because the last guy had actually pickled all his people. Like, he pickled them and then gave them to the town and have feasts and people were eating.
Ugh.
They were eating everybody.
Ew.
Like, when someone went missing, it was in his basement and he was pickling them. And then when they went in, they found like
Blech.
all these. Now this is old, but like big, like barrels of flesh, which land up by pulling out, land up finding that it was like human bones. That's how they found out it was human. And they were pickling them, where you'd invite people over for dinner, and give food when people were hungry in town, and everyone loved him because he
That
was
just-
like the mayor of the town practically.
That just makes me never want to eat again.
Never want someone to give you food unless it's wrapped. Like,
Even
no,
then.
no, no. I'm talking about like if you went to somebody's house and they gave you a Snickers and it was in like it was if it was,
It was taken
unwrapped
out,
if
yeah.
it was unwrapped Snicker, I'd
Like,
be
no,
like,
thanks.
So we're not going to get to him, but that is our podcast.
Let us know if you want us to do another one of these.
Uh,
There are plenty of serial killers out there.
Yes, if everyone wants to do another one, we can definitely do another one.
Or just crazy murders or
and
true crime.
I'd like to, just for you all to know, we are doing a live, not a live, I should say, a video for our podcast on YouTube, so people can see us now on YouTube instead of just hearing our voices. So if you don't like to just listen to us, you can actually go to the podcast on Tuesdays and actually watch us, because I know...
I fully enjoyed this podcast.
Oh, thanks, Nicole.
Me too.
I actually like this one too.
This one's like really fun.
I like this one because see, you like the newer ones. I like the old ones because then you just know.
I like them all.
Because I feel like whatever they did, they're going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because back then in Europe, they didn't mess around. Like it's eye for eye kind of.
Yeah.
So the other thing was the excuse of black magic. Like I love when I don't know why I love that. I think it's just ridiculous. It's like, what were you doing? Flying? Like what? Like what made you think you had power? Clearly, this guy was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But still, so like I said, just for you to know, we're the Goofy Geek Podcast. We are on live on Sundays at 6:00 Eastern Standard Times, and then it's on replayed Tuesdays
on YouTube. Yep.
And I like to thank everyone who sat and watched us.
Thank you.
I like to thank everyone who takes the time and clicks onto us to watch us on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And for anyone new.
Yes, and I always feel comfortable to make comments on the YouTube.
I read them all.
Or on if you really want to talk to us about something particular, you can contact the Goofy Geek page. I quickly, because I know we're almost near the end here, like to thank the Goofy Geek Boutique. They give us our cups, and they also are sponsored. And I thank for everyone's patience because I know we didn't start off that good because of all our new technology we're trying to work on. And we will see you next time.
Bye, friends.